Hey, Garage Logic fans, Mishke here, slipping in ever so briefly to mention that I have a podcast that comes out every Wednesday and every Friday, twice a week now. The show is pretty much about everything you care about and are interested in and need in your life and want to know more about. I tailored the darn thing specifically to your liking. I tailored it to your loves, to your true passions. That took a long time. I'm spent. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely wasted.
Josh Arnold, investment consultant, brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1613, September 5, 2025. 98 degrees, the record high. That was in 1922. And as chilly as 36 degrees on the morning of this day in 1962. Call Josh Arnold at 952-925-5608. Do yourself a favor. Get a free 48-minute consultation.
Hail the flashlight king. Hail you!
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner.
Hi.
Kenny Ellison from the Krabby Coffee Shop. John Heidt in the newsroom. And, of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
You want to fire up the GL jet?
Oh, are we doing it that soon?
Well, I was just asking if you wanted to.
Sure.
Everybody get on board the GL jet. Let's take a... Is it, Chris, is it a Mysterian tour around the country?
I'll say. We've got a lot that has circulated over the past couple of days, and I think in honor of my man, the rookie, we're going to start in one of his favorite cities and one of the places of his favorite movies of all time. We're going to start in Dearborn Heights, Michigan.
Oh, Dearborn Heights, Michigan. I've been there, Chris.
Well, Joe, this just in.
Dearborn hijacking.
Dearborn Heights Police Department in Michigan has just revealed America's first police badge to feature Arabic writing in order to reflect and honor the diversity of our community.
Whoa.
Dearborn Heights Police Department in Michigan, Joe. Probably to combat all that black market cigarette sales.
Right.
There's a 39% Arabic population in Dearborn. The chief, who has an Arabic name, I don't have it in front of me at the moment, he has served in the police force for 25 years.
Without Arabic being on the badge?
Right.
Okay.
And we're learning that they're now they must have gotten enough pushback because the city is changing its mind, and apparently that's just considered something optional. Officer Emily Murdoch came up with that to honor diversity, and I personally would not have done that.
This is a very, very, this is a editorial comment from the
Peanut Gallery
correspondent. This is a very dangerous road we are going down with things like this, in my humble opinion.
Well, the mayor of Dearborn was a guy named Bill Bazzi. Trump named him ambassador to Tunisia. So once Bazzi took off, they must, while the cat's away, the mice were playing, and they came up with this Arabic BS, and it's now considered to be not an official patch for the uniform.
Would you like to know how many of the officers with the Dearborn Heights Police Department maybe had voiced their opinion and or resigned after this happened?
Well, and again, to be factual, I would imagine there's a handful, if not more, of Arabic born, or what's the word I want?
Natural.
There's probably guys on the Dearborn Police Department and gals with Arabic names. So,
well, let's just hope that everything works out. You said 39%?
Yeah, I've told you people 1,000 times to read the Robert Ferrigno's books that are set about 20 years in the future, and they're very chilling. They're not science fiction. I don't like science fiction. That's not what they are.
But you're saying they're telling.
Well, yeah, the Muslims are running the Islam is running the country. And
was this in
where else is the GL jet going now?
We're going to go to Columbia University.
Columbia University, New York City, Chris.
Yes,
I've been there.
And I know that you hate these man on the street videos.
Well, I never know whether they're staged or not.
This one I know for a fact is not, because it was making the rounds earlier this week. And
well, how does that prove anything to me?
That's true.
Yeah.
But there was a gentleman who had a cameraman.
Yep.
And the little microphone and his tablet, or either his tablet or his iPhone, I can't tell.
Right.
But he was interviewing students on the street at Columbia.
Yeah.
And asking about quotes that were from Donald Trump.
I believe this is true.
Yes. And it turns out...
Let's put it this way. It certainly could be.
The initial reactions are from those students that thought these quotes were from Donald Trump, but in actuality, they were from Obama.
Right.
Ooh. Donald Trump announced this past week that he would be urging ICE and other administration authorities to seek out people living here illegally that have broken the law, to deport them. So I have a quote for you here that's been making the rounds on social media about the deportation of criminal illegal aliens. "We are a nation of laws. Undocumented workers broke our laws, and I believe they must be held accountable, especially those who may be dangerous. That's why over the past 6 years, deportations of criminals are up 80%, and we're going to keep focusing on threats to our security." What's your thought on that quote and that policy in general?
This gets a little long to play.
I think that policy comes from a place of like...
All the kids say, oh, that's dreadful, that's typical Trump, blah, blah, blah. Then the guy reveals to them that it's Obama, and they all have to backpedal and say, oh, I'm surprised.
Well, I'm okay with it now.
Yeah.
But Orange Man is bad.
Right.
Orange Man is bad.
Where else is the jet going?
Well, as long as we're saying Orange Man is bad, let's go to Chicago.
Chicago, Illinois. I've been there.
Your favorite mayor, Brandon Johnson, in 2023, as he was campaigning to become the mayor of Chicago, versus what he has now said in 2025 about the state of crime in the city.
So the first you hear is 2023.
Yep. And then the second is 2025.
We can actually solve crime in the city of Chicago with my plan.
We will never be able to end gun violence in Chicago as long as the president continues to allow tens of thousands of guns to be trafficked into our state and our city.
Okay. So it's Trump's fault that the kids keep shooting each other in Chicago.
Well, duh, that's the easy answer.
But that's been happening long before Trump became on the scene. And in 2023, this fraud... who is the worst mayor in America?
Boy, he's bad.
He's the Tim Walz of mayors. He's the worst.
Congratulations.
He's the worst mayor in America. And he, of course, in 2023, he is a puppet of the teachers union.
Yeah.
But in 2023, he just said, I got a plan. We'll solve the crime.
We're going to hamper
down. In 2025, he said, we can't solve the problem because Trump keeps shipping weapons here.
Right.
They arrive in a big semi that has Trump Acme weapons on the side.
Right.
And then the gang members line up and they're distributed to the gang members.
Would you like one more before we come home?
Where is this, Chris?
This was, I believe, a protest, and I was trying to find the destination, but I don't think it matters. Mm-hmm. And here's why I don't think it matters.
All right.
Because this is more of a mindset issue with the modern-day Mysterian act, asked as if, what do you hate about white conservative men?
All right.
Because obviously they are at the crux of the problems.
Well, the mystery would hold white heterosexual men accountable for the terribly flawed country that we live in.
What's your message to straight white conservative men?
Listen to minorities, listen to women, listen to people who are trying to educate you. Don't live in ignorance just because it's easy.
What is a woman?
This woman just shrugged. She can't come up with the answer.
That sounds like a loaded question.
It's a loaded question. This is a loaded question.
Whoa.
Where's the jet taking us now?
Let's come on home, shall we?
We're going to land in Minneapolis?
Yes. Johnny, I know he asked you.
Actually, it'd be what? Bloomington, I suppose?
Probably Bloomington, unless we get a free pass from Rookie.
Sure.
Johnny, this is, help me again. I know I asked you to look her up. This is City Council
Katie Cashman.
Katie Cashman.
Correct.
And Joe, she is going to fix the problems as to why downtown Minneapolis has basically become a ghost town.
All right.
And this is brought to you by the same woman who apparently set up a snitch line to report your neighbors for oversalting their sidewalks. Remember that story?
Oh, that's a terrible problem.
Yeah, so here's Katie.
And then it says skyways can only be used for pedestrian movement. Are there any expanded purposes to improve vitality? For example, rollerblading, or other uses that could bring more activity and activation to the skyway network. So we could look into that. And then,
just a minute.
Check this out.
Just a minute. Is she proposing that the skyway system should be turned into a rollerblading situation?
Yes, sir.
So she wasn't even talking about rollerblading outside. She's talking about the roller derby right there in the skyway apparatus. And she's a city councilwoman.
Yep. Remember, she had the snitch line for the oversalting. Oh boy.
Yeah, and half the people she probably was worried about were probably using table salt. So I really don't know what the problem. I don't think they were using Celtic sea salt.
You know what would be a good idea for the 2% of people that are still working downtown when they're trying to walk to work in the morning and they're walking across 5th and Hennepin or wherever the skyway might take them, and all of a sudden here comes Billy and Bobby on their rollerblades.
Yeah.
Boy, I can see a lot of lawsuits right off the bat. You set me up beautifully for a follow-up letter from Tom Cullen. He's a wheelbarrow salesman.
Yeah, electric wheelbarrows.
Who has tried to...
It's $1 million idea.
Well, I hope for him it is.
St. Paul based.
He has tried to get to the bottom of those Democrats who didn't work for the first month or 5 weeks of the session. And he was able to go nowhere with that, and we got his letter yesterday. And now I have a follow-up. Are you ready? The GL Jets parked in the hangar now?
Yeah, we're back home. We're back.
Joe, I've been reflecting further on what I've seen. You'll recall he went to contest a water bill.
Yes.
And he went into City Hall in St. Paul and found it basically empty.
Vacant.
All right. Joe, I've been reflecting further on what I've seen. Empty courthouses, vacant City Hall offices, hearings conducted virtually while taxpayer-funded buildings sit idle. And I realize this isn't isolated. It's systemic. The absence of public servants is everywhere: civic, county, education, state, federal, judicial. At every level, the people we are paying are not present, and therefore not executing their duties or not being directly supervised. I've seen this firsthand at the Judicial Center in Hastings. I'm not crying, I just had a catch in my throat, although it's tear-worthy. I've seen this firsthand at the Judicial Center in Hastings and the City Hall of St. Paul. I have seen the empty offices. The desks are not filled, yet the checks still get cashed. This is what I call fraudulent representation. We elect people to serve. This was the seed that sprung him loose on the public, Mr. Cullen. His representative, Bianca Vernig, was not representing him.
She wasn't.
She was living in her basement for 5 weeks. Yeah. That's what motivated him. Yet the checks still get cashed. This is what I call fraudulent representation. We elect people to serve. We fund the buildings they are supposed to work in, and we pay salaries for services that are not being delivered, whether it's a legislator not present, a judge on a Zoom, a city clerk in their basement, or a city council member studying at Harvard. It's the same result: absence, and we are, as a result, defrauded. Of course, there are exceptions: police officers, firefighters, and others who have no choice but to show up. I suspect if they could speak without repercussion, they would confirm what I've stumbled upon. Whole layers of government operating as if attendance and accountability are optional. We see the result. The City Hall of the capital city of Minnesota sits practically vacant. Kitty corner on the street outside, human waste piles up. Office buildings are empty. Storefronts abandoned. Small businesses shuttered. None of this, by the way, is hyperbole. This is the same city that once glowed with Christmas lights and hosted a winter carnival as a point of pride. It has slipped into neglect, mirrored by the absenteeism inside the very halls that are supposed to govern it. Yes, we're rightly outraged at the $1 billion in climbing Somali daycare, autism, and food program fraud. But I ask, what's the difference between that and thousands of government payroll checks cashed while the people drawing them aren't doing anything? Whether it's potholes left unfilled, courts closed to the public, or city officials unavailable, the money is gone and the service is absent. That, too, is theft by fraud. Meanwhile, I open my mail to find a 27% property tax increase on my building on Dale Street in St. Paul. For what? I'm paying for empty offices, locked doors, government by voicemail and Zoom. This is unsustainable, and it violates not just common sense, but the very oaths of office that elected leaders swore to uphold. This is the crisis no one is naming. We who see it firsthand have a responsibility to share it, to give others the same jolt of realization I've had. Fraudulent representation is just as corrosive as the billion-dollar scams we read about, and it is happening in plain sight every day. Best regards, Tom Cullen. He gives me a thought here. This is partly, if not significantly, one of the reasons to blame for fraud. There's just no bodies around providing oversight. There's no one to crack the whip. There's no one where there's no place where the buck stops.
Well, everyone's working from home.
So they get away with this BS. And he paints a picture of St. Paul that unfortunately is accurate. It's been poorly governed. It continues to be poorly governed by the least diverse city council in America. The taxes keep going up, and all those taxes are really paying for is the increasing number of government workers.
Salary. Yep.
They're not. Those taxes aren't really accommodating the fellow who expects a pothole to be filled in front of his street or a street light to be repaired. Or
we fixed West 7th yet, or we still got a hole there in the ground?
I don't know the current status.
Yesterday, I was there. I visited the site. There's one lane going north and southbound on West 7th, but everything else is still you can't pass through it. It's all fenced off. So the sinkhole still exists.
You're joking.
No, there's no middle lane on West 7th.
Do you think it'll be done by the time the hockey season starts?
No.
Wait a minute.
Will not be.
I asked that with hyperbole. I was joking.
It's still there, and it's just still a mess. This is all the way down from McGovern's down to Tom Reed's.
Hold on, I got to find the origination. What was the date?
The only thing
So there's no parking there. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
There's no parking there. There's just a lane now to get through. And if I was a business owner, I would be furious.
Let's play closest to the pin. You ready?
Yeah.
Who wants to guess what the origination date? Because I have the Carol Evans story in front of me. It's now September 5th.
Yeah. When did it happen?
Let's play closest to the pin. Who can guess
on when it happened?
On when the sinkhole was first discovered.
I will guess mid-May.
I was going to say the 15th of May.
John?
I was going to say beginning of June, but I must be off.
I think it was there for Memorial Day.
May freaking 9th.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay.
But
that's
I also
4 months ago.
But not that I'm defending them, but wasn't it also announced at the onset that it was going to take a long time because
structural integrity and all that
extenuating circumstances that I'm unaware of?
Well, here's the thing is when it is a weekday and you don't see them working there during business hours, that's for one guy with the shovel isn't going to do anything.
How does this affect Casetas?
You picking up dinner?
Dave still has a pretty good. It doesn't affect Casetas. It doesn't really affect McGovern's or Moe's.
No, but it affects them all because their clients can't get there
as easily
comfortably.
Correct. That is correct.
You know what? Dang it! No, I'm picking up Casetas for dinner. Damn it, rookie.
Oh man!
It doesn't affect Patrick Mancini? Not really.
No, it does not affect Mancini's at all.
May 9th.
That is
your city's.
How
funny.
could they not be 365 on that in that major vein, traffic vein?
Wow!
You have no idea how much I am concerned about the Wild, and have been
ever
since this administration took over.
About moving?
Yeah. Why
Really?
in the hell would you stay in that godforsaken city that's just disappeared before your very eyes?
Craig, build a nice arena in Jordan. We'll take you.
Craig, just put a good restaurant in where the
It's
Apostle
going to be
used
no different in Minneapolis.
True. Nope, you're right.
No different.
You're right.
Everything the left touches, it basically ruins.
What they should honestly do, and I'm being deadly serious, get together with A-Rod and the new T-Wolves group, build a state-of-the-art one facility for both teams, and revitalize both downtowns.
But I think the public's hard-pressed enough, and I don't think the taxpayer should have to pay for that.
I agree completely.
Yeah.
But that's what they should, in all honesty, that's what they should do. One facility for both teams.
Well,
So
we
our
did,
Big Four-
You could send me down that road all day long. We didn't need 2 brand new football stadiums.
Well, think about this. The XL Energy Center, Target Center, Target Field, U.S. Bank Field, and TCF.
It's not XL Energy Center.
Because Grand Casino.
Grand
excuse me.
Casino. Could you get that straight?
I should, because my Native American wife would want me to recognize the
Well,
natives.
plus Grand Casino's the one now paying all the money.
True.
They want their name mentioned.
It's going to be hard not to say the
I know,
X.
but it's the Grand. I've told you the only way to take a break from this stuff is try to have some fun. The weather's going to turn. I'm reading that back to the mid-80s by mid-September.
Yes, I heard
And
that as well.
I won't doubt that for a moment.
Well, this weekend's going to be gorgeous.
Well, no, it isn't. Chris,
Yes,
it's going to
it
be
is.
cold.
It's supposed to be 75 on Sunday.
No. Who are you watching?
Such hogwash.
Dave, I count on Dave.
Yeah. Well, he's not on the air anymore.
He's retired.
Anyway, get to EcoFun. There's a lot of electric bike riding still ahead of us, a lot of motorcycling and scooter riding and youth recreational equipment riding. And even, we're not done with the lakes yet. They still have that Yamaha lake equipment that's fantastic. You pick up a new jet ski now or a wave runner and tell them that Joe said you're throwing in the trailer. Huh? It's just it's the most fun recreational store I've ever been in. It's EcoFun in Forest Lake / Columbus on Highway 97, immediately west of the interstate. You go through a few roundabouts on account of there it is. It's right there. Boom. And in Burnsville on the service road of life near County Road 42. But really, really great manufacturing representation, great brands, great equipment. Winter equipment, I suppose, will be start showing up, but really, there's a lot of biking and scootering and motorcycling left. Get to EcoFun and a really wonderful website, ecofunmotorsports.com.
Football is finally back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Play with as little as $1, and you just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, and lots more. This year, I'll probably stick with some of my favorite players like Josh Jacobs of the Packers. He helped me win money last year by usually going higher on yards rushing. I'll be looking for him to again go higher on rushing yards. It's easy to pick, and it makes watching the games that much more fun. Download the app today and sign up with promo code GARAGE to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code GARAGE. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Promo code GARAGE. Make picks. Win money.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Reavers here once again for my guy, Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Well, sometimes the anxiety from wondering if you've saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? Well, Mr. Money Talk is going to be able to sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk, never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute, no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608 and set up your free 48-minute, no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Chris Reavers is a paid endorser.
The earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
In response to the tragedy at Annunciation Catholic Church and School, GL wants to once again highlight the important work of our first responders by throwing support behind the Frontline Foundation. The Frontline Foundation exists to support these brave men and women in their time of need, no matter what that is, including the payout of death benefits to families when a first responder dies in the line of duty and makes that ultimate sacrifice for others. Let's make sure our first responders know that GLers have their backs. Here's how you can help make a difference. Go to garagelogic.com/donate. That's garagelogic.com/donate. You can also find more information at garagelogic.com.
And these are the jobs that the vast majority of us have no you-know-what to be able to do, to walk in on the front line. So,
say Tom Cullen mentioned absent public employees, including those who may be pretending to be at school at Harvard while on the St. Paul City Council. That would be Jeremiah Ellison. And we've learned more. If you'll excuse me while I try to find it.
Can I give you a quick update? Stacy, the GL geologist, says that, yes, Rookie, you're correct. However, the sinkhole is affecting Bergamo and the downtowner. It's a mess and lots of roadblocks. It's a joke.
There aren't that many businesses left in St. Paul. I would be treating them better than this.
Especially Mo, who's got 2 restaurants. He's got a huge parking lot that helps ease all the congestion. And he's a St. Paul guy and has been for a while. He shouldn't be mistreated like that.
Melvin, you're not doing a good job.
Well, he was dealing with the security breach, Joe.
Yeah, the taxpayers haven't been hit with that bill yet. We don't know how many millions that will be. Jeremiah Ellison, there are some new wrinkles. He's one of 10 fellows in Harvard University's Loeb Fellowship. Okay, which is utter nonsense to begin with. And that pays him $57,000 plus room and board and travel. Oh. So his travel's paid for. He's got a free place to stay. Doesn't board mean food? Yeah. Room and board, doesn't that?
Room and board would mean meals.
Mean food. So $57,500, and then he's keeping, or intends to keep, the $110,000 he makes as a city council person, presumably representing North Minneapolis, which he is not doing adequately. And it is against city council rules to vote on anything virtually. They must be present. And he's trying to brush that off and apparently believes it does not apply to him. But there's a new wrinkle. You ready, GLers? There's a new wrinkle. He's also violating the rules of the fellowship. Channel 5 Eyewitness News found this. 5 Eyewitness News, this was a Ben Henry piece. They have the best news on TV in the sense that they have news. They don't have large pumpkins that somebody painted a smile on.
How to keep your dog hydrated in the summer.
They don't have that. They have that once in a while, but they have some news. And this is news. Here's what 5 found out. In the middle of this is the website from the Loeb Fellowship at Harvard. In the middle of promising careers, they step away from their hectic professional lives for one academic year. Fellows must agree to step away from any significant roles with their employers. Ellison, your employer is the taxpayer. And other employment responsibilities to refrain from professional work during the fellowship, except as approved by the Loeb curator. So there's some factotum sitting in a big throne at Harvard who's the head of this Loeb Fellowship, and presumably that person who probably has a uniform and a crown,
right?
That person can grant you the ability to continue your work, although I doubt that that's really ever done. I can't think of a scenario in which you can't keep your job no matter what you do, basically, and then be living at Harvard.
Right.
If you're from Salt Lake City, I don't care what you do for a living, and you drop everything and move to Harvard, where they're going to put you up for free, pay for your airplane ticket and feed you, and pay you $57,500 to pretend you're getting educated at this fellowship, how can you possibly be doing your job in Salt Lake City? Much less, how can a city council person possibly get away with claiming this is no big deal? You're violating the rules on both ends of this, Ellison. You're violating your principal employer's rules, the city council, the city of Minneapolis. And now it turns out you're also violating the rules of the fellowship itself. Why? How long does the taxpayer of this state, which we no longer recognize, how long do we have to be held hostage to this BS? Will people wake up? You either vote for these people because you're so stupid you don't know what you're doing, or you're getting paid. Somehow you're on the take. That's the only two reasons you could vote for these morons. You are an idiot, or you're on the take. There's no other reason to vote for somebody like this.
And plus, what is he going to say to Harvard anyway? He's still wet behind the ears.
So that's amazing. He's insulting the fellowship and insulting the taxpayers of Minneapolis. And none of these Mysterians on the city council, with the exception of Latricia Vitaw, if there's another one, let me know. With the exception of Latricia Vitaw, the rest of the council people probably are smacking their lips, hoping they get the same scam. And they do the same thing.
What's your gal Katie would go to Harvard and say, rollerblading.
She'd rollerblade it at all around Cambridge.
But that's the problem, is the vast majority of us feel helpless because these are the people that constantly either run, get nominated, and or eventually get elected. And that's the cycle of BS that we're in the midst of right now. There is no candidate to come save us.
So, Ellison, you're an embarrassment on two fronts. You've shown no character in regards to your city council job, and you've been bold enough to flaunt the rules of the fellowship. I wouldn't have you as a fellow in the Loeb program. I don't think Harvard will have the guts to do anything. Ellison probably checks too many boxes for protection. But I wouldn't have him, and I'd say, get the hell out of here. Right. You're a phony.
Is how Trump got elected.
That's the wrong one. Sorry.
Excuse me.
But that is,
well,
right?
By the time Trump gets done, there might not be a Harvard. So you won't have to worry about a Loeb Fellowship.
Yeah.
Did you see we're going to have the War Department?
I did. Yeah. I did.
You know, I was perfectly fine with the Department of Defense.
Well,
I really was.
I like it. Department of Defense. We're defending. The
Thank you,
Department of War is a little more aggressive.
I never looked at it that way.
I know.
I'm really glad you helped me with that.
Work that into your thing.
I will. I'm going to think about that.
Okay.
I think Rook makes a good point, though, because to most of us, it's obvious Department of Defense would work, but for some reason, there's a small contingent somewhere that wants Department of War.
Why the hell is it to do? We know what they're capable of.
Department of War. What is it good for?
Why don't you explain it to me again?
Good God.
So, John, go ahead.
Your defense, your Department of Defense. That's a whole bureau that you have that says somebody messes with us, we're going to defend the United States of America.
Can I get in your head?
That's what I say.
Can I please get in your head, Matthew Mikulski?
Go ahead.
You're right now picturing the guy in the late 80s, early 90s at a Viking football game holding up the letter D and the picture of the fence.
Yes, don't mess with us.
No, why don't you...
Go ahead.
Why don't you explain to me very seriously. See if you can beat Kamala Harris.
Oh, God.
She would be unable to explain the Department of Defense, so could you do it?
Well, the Department of Defense is made up of many bureaus and desks with people sitting behind those desks, such as men and women that are ready to defend the United States of America, such as file cabinets and paperwork, and they're ready to rebound, so to speak. You know, if somebody shoots at me, it's like Wonder Woman, where she has those bracelets, where she just defends all the bullets. And then the Department of War is something a little bit different. That's more aggressive.
Can I give you a
Such
specific
as
topic?
Go ahead.
So Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country.
Powerful.
Russia decided to invade a smaller country.
She's slipping into her black dialect there.
Basically, that's wrong. And it goes against everything that we stand for.
At the Department of War.
You know, just know when you've been beaten. I think she got you
she
there.
got
She really, no one to quit.
By the way, Ellison isn't alone. The closer you get to the country's tallest buildings, where Mysterians tend to rule, we find similar situations as Mr. Ellison's. Maybe if I change my attitude and tone, more people might get the message of how screwed you are. Let's go to Portland, Oregon. This week, about 20 people, including 3 city councilors in Portland and their chiefs of staff, are heading on a taxpayer-funded work trip to Vienna, Austria, to see how social housing works. Social housing is owned and operated by the government rather than evil developers and evil property managers, and where rents are set at an affordable rate. We're not planning the trip. We are just joining a bunch of other civic leaders who want to learn more about Vienna's social housing program, Councillor Candace Avalos said. They are known worldwide for their social housing. This is an opportunity for us to see it in person and to experience the things that are hard. And when you read it on paper, it's one thing when you can see it and talk to the leaders and talk to the people and the residents who are expecting it to be just better. Okay. Councilors Jamie Dunphy and Mitch Green are joining Avalos, along with their chiefs of staff and 3 people from the Portland Housing Bureau. There are also non-city employees going on the trip. Avalos said she didn't know off the top of her head how much in taxpayer dollars is going towards the trip, and a spokesperson for her office, because in addition to a chief of staff, she has a spokesperson.
Well, of course she needs that.
Because she's a little tied up.
She's got a lot to do.
She can't really talk to you
She's
right
very
now.
busy today.
Very, very busy. So a spokesperson for her office said they can't speak to questions about the cost.
Oh, they hide behind that.
But why go so far to learn strategies to bring back home? Well, I've actually talked to a lot of leaders about this, that sometimes we just get really stuck in our ways because we don't open our minds to other opportunities, Avalos said. And Avalos disagrees with the people who question the use of money.
You shouldn't question that. It's just money.
At the end of the day, we have discretion over the budgets, and I use my budget as a way to embrace my work. I can't continue because I'm going to throw up. I'm going to puke. They want Avalos, Green, and Dunphy, the 3 who are going, with their chiefs of staff. Because you need somebody to place that mint on your pillow.
You can't do that yourself. You're above that.
Yeah. They brought a resolution back in March to study bringing social housing to Portland. So it's a full Marxist power play in Portland. Never mind. So Ellison, you're not alone. They all pull the scam.
Good luck with your fellowship.
Embarrassing the fellowship and his fellows and embarrassing the city council. With the possible exception of Katie Cashman, who is pretty focused on rollerblading.
She will
now.
unite us.
If you could rollerblade through the skyways,
Yes.
that might turn things around.
How do you not see that, Joe?
I do see it now. Now that my eyes have been opened,
Mm-hmm.
I do see it. It's really a wonderful thought.
Hey, CP, let's head on down to downtown.
I'm gonna buy
Minneapolis.
some. I'm gonna buy some rollerblades. No, I'm just gonna use my skates. They'll end up a little dull from all of that effort, but
Because that's what I want to do when it's the middle of June or July and it's, 80 some degrees outside and it's beautiful outside. Let's head to the Skyway.
And by the way, Ellison, you show no class at all wearing a stocking cap indoors in July, much
Amen.
less any other time of year. Right. Would you like to hear about our friends at the Center of the American Experiment?
Boy, would I ever.
Well, you know what they're focused on?
On account of you want to know why?
On account of you want to know why? They're focused on the failed academy because the results in this state, which we no longer recognize in many ways, the results in this state are pathetic. Less than half of Minnesota students cannot meet grade-level benchmarks in reading and math. If you've ever had any dealings in public, does that surprise you? When you're dealing with just the general population of youth?
There's a major problem.
Well, the Center of the American Experiment wants to do something about it because what we're doing doesn't work. We've tried more money. That doesn't work. We've tried more bureaucracy. We're top-heavy in administrations. We pay a fortune to the super club. None of that works. So American Experiment came up with 7K for Kids campaign. That would allow parents to have control of $7,000 of their money anyway, per child per year, to choose the best education for your kids. It certainly could be public, private, charter, homeschool, whatever makes sense to you, whatever fits for your family. You can learn more at 7kforkids.com. I think it's a great idea. More kids could get into a school where they're going to face expectations and will not be made less than. Learn more at 7kforkids.com or americanexperiment.org.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
Let's talk about the fine folks at North American Banking Company who have believed in one simple philosophy since 1998 when they made a promise to deliver a better banking experience, and that's this. Hey, it's banking done differently. And you get that feeling anytime that you walk in at one of the 6 Twin Cities locations, whether it's Roseville, 50th at France, Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, or Maple Grove. And I got news for you. For you business owners out there that are looking to solve problems quickly, turn to North American Banking Company because all of their loan decisions are made right here in the Twin Cities. They are not sent out of state. And that's because they are locally owned and operated. So yes, those decisions can be solved quickly. And you know what? Check them out online today. It's nabankco.com to learn more. Again, it's banking done differently. And if you're tired of being a number to your big national bank, then turn to my friends at North American Banking Company. Once again, nabankco.com to learn more. North American Banking Company, member FDIC, is an equal housing lender. Joe?
Here's John Heidt.
Thank you, Joe. This news brought to you by North American Banking Company. I do have our traffic guy was going to deliver this today, but since he has something else going on, apparently, I will deliver it.
Okay.
There's a lot of closures this weekend, traffic-wise. Starting at 10 tonight, lanes will close on portions of 494, I-94, and 35E. The high traffic closures could cause some problems if you're planning any driving around the metro. Here we go. On 494, all lanes will close in both directions between Highway 77 and Highway 100 and stay closed until 5 o'clock. That starts at 8 o'clock tonight, 5 o'clock Monday morning. I'm sorry.
So that's deep into Bloomington.
That's just the strip is closed.
Okay.
The workaround is to use Highways 77, 62, and 100. Now, on I-94, all eastbound lanes will be closed from Highway 280 to 35E.
Holy mackerel.
Eastbound lanes, okay.
94 is closed down.
Okay.
Correct. Eastbound till 12:05 on Monday. So again, from 8 tonight to 12:05 Monday.
Boy, oh boy.
On I-35E, all northbound lanes will close from Highway 5 to University Avenue until 5 a.m. Monday. Motorists there will be directed east on 494 and west on I-94.
So that means the Practice Freeway?
No, that's more...
Yeah, Highway 5 to University Avenue?
Yeah, 35E.
Yes.
That would include coming across the Practice Bridge and the Practice Freeway all the way into St. Paul.
Yes, Mr. Reavers.
You know what I have for you?
Here's today's ray of hope.
What would that be?
No one frickin' goes to St. Paul anyways. Who gives a damn?
Well, that might be the case.
There you go.
Just shut her all down and get her taken care of.
The closures are so that Minnesota Department of Transportation crews can make bridge repairs and continue drainage construction. More closures are expected into the fall. Update to that horrible story we had yesterday. Charges have now been filed against the man for his alleged role in a high-speed chase and crash that killed 2 women and injured a 6-year-old boy Thursday morning. 45-year-old Troy Mike Payton faces 2 counts of fleeing a police officer resulting in death and fleeing a police officer resulting in great bodily harm. The more serious charges carry a maximum sentence of 40 years apiece. Charges have been filed against him. Charging documents detail a separate crash and carjacking in South Minneapolis that set off the chain of events culminating in the crash at Ellison Memorial Highway and Penn Avenue. According to the complaint, Payton was driving erratically before he crashed into the car at the intersection of Lake Street, on Lake Street and 4th Avenue around 8 in the morning. He then went up to the driver of another car, pointed a gun at her before moving on to a second driver who drove off. Payton then pointed the gun at a third driver and threatened her before stealing the car. Police tried to stop Payton around 8:36 a.m., activating lights and sirens, but he didn't stop. Sped westbound onto Olson Memorial Highway. Right after that, charging documents allege Payton blew a red light at Penn Avenue and T-boned a blue Ford Focus carrying the 3 victims. 2 25-year-old women identified as Marissa Casebolt and Liberty Borg suffered what were called catastrophic injuries at the crash site and were pronounced dead at the scene. A 6-year-old boy taken to the hospital with 2 broken legs and a traumatic brain injury. Chief Brian O'Hara said the child is expected to survive. Payton was taken to North Memorial Health Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. He was booked into the Hennepin County Jail around 6 last night. He's being held on $4 million bail. Court records show that Payton's criminal history in Minnesota includes 2 convictions each for illegal gun possession and fleeing police, 1 each for assault, auto theft, and tampering with a vehicle, and 3 for driving either with a suspended license and after his license was revoked. He also has a pending felony drug possession charge from July in Ramsey County.
John, I did a little homework. His record goes back at least 23 years to when Amy Klobuchar was Hennepin County Attorney. Mike Hatch was the state Attorney General. Wow. And he, at that time in 2003, he was contesting a case in which he was arrested as a felon in possession of a gun. So in the state, we no longer recognize, is it any surprise this guy was out among the populace? It's just it's a terrible situation.
Mm-hmm. But again, will anything change, Joe, until the people that are supposed to...
If you keep electing Mysterians for 2 reasons. One, you're either so stupid you don't know what the hell you're doing, or you're getting paid. Until we stop electing Mysterians, this will continue.
But at what point can we hold these people accountable?
You can't. We don't do that anymore. Accountability is one of the things the mystery has...
dissolved?
Using a scalpel cut out of civic life.
Minneapolis DFL is officially seeking to restore its endorsement of Senator Omar Fateh for mayor. It comes 2 weeks after the Minnesota DFL vacated the city party's endorsement, citing flaws in the voting process at the Minneapolis DFL convention. After the city party endorsed Fatah at its convention, a flurry of challenges were submitted, raising issues with electronic voting during the process and questioning whether a quorum was present for the final vote. His short-lived endorsement was the first for a Minneapolis mayoral candidate in 16 years. When the endorsement was vacated, Fateh's campaign and its supporters claimed a coordinated effort by, quote, establishment Democrats and supporters of Jacob Fry. Fry and his campaign, meanwhile, said the process was unfair and praised the move to vacate the endorsement. Minneapolis DFL's committee with the DFL State Executive Committee seeks to restore the results of the convention and, quote, respect the will of the delegates. The timeline for any decision is unclear.
John, it's the state DFL? It's
correct.
Okay.
No, it's the city, Minneapolis DFL.
Okay, but they're not the DFL.
Yeah.
They're the DSA. There's a big difference. Mm-hmm. And if the DFL doesn't get that straightened out, the DFL, as we once knew it, does not exist.
Former Minneapolis Senator Nicole Mitchell, Minnesota Senator, excuse me, Nicole Mitchell.
Away yet?
Not yet. She's scheduled to be sentenced next week.
She wants another favor.
Yeah, she's scheduled to be sentenced next week on her burglary conviction. Now she's hoping that will be pushed back. This week, Mitchell and her legal team asked the court to delay her September 10th sentencing hearing, saying her attorney has an illness that precludes him from adequately preparing for the hearing.
Wow.
Jesus. Now the attorney's sick.
The filing
is this the equivalent of the dog ate my homework?
It really is.
And it's kind of like I'm going to be sick next Wednesday.
Well, I mean, I hope we're not talking about some terminal case here.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, I'm sure it's very serious.
The filing doesn't go into more detail, but asks for a short continuance.
We don't. Oops, I'm sorry. I hit that by accident.
That was the right one.
To allow the lawyer to recover. Prosecutors opposed the motion, noting Mitchell has multiple other attorneys on her legal team who could stand in for her on Wednesday. Wow. The defense, meanwhile, says Mitchell is entitled to the legal representation of her choosing. Republican leaders in the Minnesota House of Representatives have released...
she's going to choose the one who can't do it so he can get a delay.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, who's going to be sick next week? I'm going to pick you.
Yeah.
Wait, you got a funeral? You got a wedding?
Okay, Chris, we're doing the news now.
He's talking to himself.
Republican leaders in the Minnesota House of Representatives have released their school safety agenda just days after Governor Walz said he plans to call a special session. House Speaker Lisa Dameth and GOP leader Harry Niska focused on mental health, funding to non-public schools, and mandatory minimum sentences for repeat gun criminals as the key part of their plan. Dameth said the policies we are proposing will protect students, provide desperately needed mental health care, and hold criminals who commit the vast majority of gun violence accountable. Instead of blindly following the loudest voices calling for policies that have failed elsewhere, House Republicans have put together an agenda that will make a real difference, Niska added. The governor also has not yet officially called for a special session, but said earlier this week he intends to do so soon to address gun laws in the wake of the shooting at Annunciation Church in Minneapolis. 75th person now has been charged in the massive Feeding Our Future fraud scheme.
Hey now,
we're getting close to it. It's like the goal. You know when you had a school goal and they were filling out the red. We're almost up to 100.
The thermometer's going up.
Yes.
75.
44-year-old Muna Wais Fahine
that guy
is facing. I think it's a her.
Well, her.
Wow.
Is facing 3 counts of wire fraud.
She one of them gays?
How can you tell these days? Right.
4 counts of federal programs bribery and 3 counts of money laundering, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Fadine's enrolled her company, M5 Cafe, in the federal child nutrition program in 2020 under the sponsorship of Feeding Our Future.
Why not?
She also created a nonprofit called
There wasn't
M5.
anybody at work to watch this anyway.
She also created a nonprofit called M5 Care and enrolled it in the program under another sponsor in 2021. In total, she claimed to have served more than 300,000 meals at her 2 sites.
300,000?
Said she had about...
Not a lot, Joe. Those kids are hungry.
Said she had about $1 million in funds from the program. Fadine reportedly used the money to pay off her home mortgage, buy a car, and in her words, fund her lifestyle.
That's right.
She also wired thousands of dollars out of the country and paid $27,000 in kickbacks to a Feeding Our Future employee in exchange for submitting fraudulent claims.
You got to pay the vig, baby. You know, this ain't free money. You got to work for it.
In national and international headlines, U.S. job growth weakened sharply in August while the unemployment rate increased to 4.3%. Non-farm payrolls increased by 22,000 jobs last month. That is well below the 79,000 that was expected. The report followed news this week that there were more unemployed people than vacancies in July for the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic. Job growth has shifted into stall speed, with economists blaming President Trump's sweeping import tariffs and an immigration crackdown that has reduced the labor pool. The softness in the labor market is mostly coming from the hiring side. Meanwhile, President Trump addressed those numbers yesterday before they were released. He said the, quote, real job numbers will come next year. He said they do come out tomorrow, but the real numbers that I'm talking about are going to be whatever it is. It'll be a year from now. Trump told reporters, while flanked by more than 24 top tech executives at the White House. He said that when, in his words, huge, beautiful places, the palaces of genius open, job numbers will improve. He didn't specify what projects he was referring to.
What is he? Palaces?
Palaces of genius. Huge, beautiful places, the palaces of genius when they open.
And then the jobs will go up.
Then the job numbers will improve.
Oh.
Yes.
You did really go into Beavis and Butthead mode there. You went, what? Hey, Beavis, what's a palace?
What's a palace?
The street in St. Paul.
Meanwhile, the president addressing Health and Human Services head Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s testimony before Congress yesterday by saying he, quote, means well. Please never say that about me, Joe, okay?
He means well.
He means well, but, you know.
You know what I loved yesterday about his testimony? When he turned it around on Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren, and said, well, you've taken $885,000 from pharmaceutical companies, and she just tried to blather through that, not pay any attention. God, she's right up there with Walsey.
When asked by a reporter whether or not he had full confidence in what Kennedy was doing in light of Republican Senator Bill Cassidy's questioning on the subject of vaccines, the president dodged the question, opting to discuss the hearing rather than Kennedy's anti-vax policies or job performance. Trump said, well, I didn't get to watch the hearings, but he's a very good person and he means very well. He's got some little different ideas. Kennedy testified in front of the Senate Finance Committee yesterday, with every Democrat on the committee calling for his resignation just moments before the hearing began. He locked horns with Democrats and Republicans alike, with senators from both parties voicing concerns about his beliefs. Kennedy's an avowed vaccine skeptic, has been spearheading efforts at HHS to restrict access to COVID-19 vaccines for Americans. Ranking member Ron Wyden questioned Kennedy about CDC chaos, including last week's removal of newly appointed directors Susan Benares after less than a month in the role. When asked by Wyden whether Benares' claim in the Wall Street Journal that Kennedy asked her to just go along with vaccine recommendations that didn't align with scientific evidence was correct, Kennedy said it was not, saying she was lying. Kennedy was not under oath for his testimony. Democratic committee members asked him to be sworn in, but the Republican chairman denied the request. Benares said she will testify under oath about
Does that mean he could lie then?
Well, I don't know.
I think all kids should be have tried and true vaccines made available to them. Measles, polio, smallpox, big pox.
You're not for Florida's recommendation.
No, I think those things work.
Major dengue?
No.
Major dengue.
Let it run its course?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it, Beavis. We're finally going to score.
We're finally going to score. He doesn't even know what that means.
The Department of Justice trying to do some damage control yesterday after conservative political activist James O'Keefe released a video of a staffer claiming the government would redact every Republican from files about sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, God.
In a Thursday post on X, never ends, does it?
No.
O'Keefe shared a video that he claimed was of a deputy chief at the U.S. Department of Justice. He said they'll redact every Republican or conservative person in the files, leave all the liberal Democratic people in the files. He went on to say the Bureau of Prisons had violated policy by moving Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, to a minimum security prison. The Department of Justice later responded on X with a letter from Deputy Chief Joseph Schnitt that appeared to confirm he spoke to someone who did work for O'Keefe. He said, I met a woman named Skylar on Hinge, a dating app, in July 2025. We had 2 dates. She gave no clues that she was a reporter, Had I a clue, the first date would have ended immediately.
Where do you put Skylar on the old Matrix?
That's a no-go zone.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's a bunny in the pot.
Hyundai has responded after some 475 people were detained during an immigration raid at a Georgia site where the South Korean auto company manufactures electric vehicles. Stephen Schrank, special agent in charge, Homeland Security Investigation, said at a news briefing today that the majority of the people detained were from South Korea. In an emailed statement to Newsweek, a Hyundai spokesperson said, "We are aware of the recent incident. We are closely monitoring the situation and working to understand the specific circumstances. As of today, it's our understanding none of those detained is directly employed by Hyundai Motor Company. We prioritize the safety and well-being of everyone working at the site and comply with all laws and regulations wherever we operate." Patrick Hemingway, the last surviving child of Ernest Hemingway, has died. He was 97 years old.
Holy mackerel.
Hemingway, the second of the author's three sons, died at his home in Bozeman, Montana. His grandson, Patrick Hemingway Adams, confirming the death, saying, "My grandfather was the real thing, a larger-than-life paradox from the old world, a consummate dreamer saddled with a scientific brain. He spoke half a dozen languages, and like Joe, he solved complicated mathematical problems just for the fun of it."
That's what I do.
Why not?
But he could write a number 8.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
3s are hard, 8s, some issues.
He was the executor of Dad's estate. Patrick was the fellow that died.
Yeah.
And he approved the reissues of such classics as A Farewell to Arms, A Movable Feast.
No, dummy. Let's go ahead and reissue. That's fine. I'll do the forward.
Featuring revised texts and additional commentary from the author's son and others.
This is all the cash register. Ka-ching, ka-ching.
The estate also unsettled Hemingway admirers by expanding beyond books and offering a line of products. Now, I did not know these existed, that included Hemingway clothing, eyewear, rugs, and Papa's Pilar rum.
I did not know that.
I've never seen any of that stuff, which is kind of...
Yeah, let's run the gamut. Yeah, rum? Yeah, okay, we got her. How about socks? He likes socks.
Patrick.
Can we get some depressive socks or something like that?
This does strike me as almost what after Prince died, the family just said, "Nope, we're going to sell everything."
How about the old man in the sea baseball caps? Okay. Now, what's most impressive about that comment?
Yeah, I could see the books, but the other stuff,
Well, that's probably how this Patrick guy lived his whole
Right.
life.
But
bathroom curtains, here we go.
What are you most, think about it, what are you most impressed about my last comment?
That you even knew the title of the old man.
Thank you. I knew I could get in there.
Old Man of the Sea bathrobes.
Yes, and
Get
toilet
them on
paper.
their
Yeah,
hats.
hey.
Wasn't Pilar the name of his boat?
I don't know.
I believe so.
I didn't really read it. I just read the crib
Right,
notes.
you just kind of...
It was 76 pages long with no pictures. I can't read The Old Man in the Sea in 7th grade. Are you crazy?
Old Man in the Sea was a short book, Rook. You should have been able to handle that.
No, he just has a real page turner, Larry King.
You don't got that kind of attention
Who was
span.
the pitcher the Twins had that wore his hat to the side?
That was your guy, Fernando Rodney.
Yeah, and he said it was because his old man wore his hat
Kept
that
the
way
sun out of the
while
eyes.
fishing. That was almost Hemingway-esque.
Yes.
Yeah.
John, that's fantastic. Thank you so much.
That's it, huh?
Well, I'm sure. Well,
You got
pick out your favorite one.
Our next segment guest is here and ready for us.
Well, maybe.
No,
maybe,
there's
maybe
one
we
more
should.
thing before that.
Okay.
No, is there? Okay, let's
got
do
another?
one more.
We got
Let's
one
see.
more.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Earlier this week,
I'm
we
about
told
the
you.
one with the tea time.
We told you about the bad priest, remember? So
Yeah.
I wish to balance the ledger a little bit. Here's a tale of a good nun. A nun in Pennsylvania chased down someone who tried to steal someone's credit cards the other day, and it's not the first time she's done it. According to WPXI, Sister Mary Madeline was working at her Sacred Heart of Jesus store on Liberty Avenue in Pittsburgh's Bloomfield neighborhood when all this happened. Customer came into the store, set down her purse, and realized that her credit cards were missing. Sister Madeline sprang into action. She chased the thief down and successfully managed to get the credit cards back.
She ran in those nun shoes?
Would she just run outside and pick somebody to chase?
Well, she must have seen it happen, right? That's the way I took the story. And this isn't her first. This isn't her first time, though. She once confronted a man who demanded money from her store and has had a gun pointed at her after chasing down a jewelry thief. She said he was walking out the door. I followed him and turned around. He said, "I don't want to have to shoot you." And all I said was, listen, all I want to tell you is Jesus loves you.
That's right.
So then he went out, and I went after
did there.
him.
Okay.
So there you go.
But it's tough to run in those nun shoes.
Exactly.
They're terrible.
And
they got kind of the
nylon.
half heel.
Yes. And the dress. What did the dress look?
It was heavy. It's heavy.
Yes, it was like it was off a Davenport or something like that.
It was layered.
It was
and
thick.
Listen, we're old and we all have the same thing. I don't think nuns dress like that.
Oh, yeah, they
anymore,
got
do
them.
The nun in my cartoon bubble has got
my
the
nuns
thick,
are wearing
the thick
me too.
dress.
You know, I don't believe
Simple.
you because the last time I was bartending for Halloween, the nuns weren't dressed like that at all.
You know, my
You had
aunt,
naughty nun.
My aunt was a daughter of Charity, and she had the giant.
Oh, the
hat,
one that went out, the flying
giant
nun?
habit, the flying nun
sweet.
hat. Yeah,
Sally Field.
Would she wear that at Thanksgiving?
Well, yeah, I think
Or would
so.
she go casual sometimes?
No.
And you were kind of like, wow.
No.
Nuns are always good, though. You know what? You get a bad priest every once in a while, but nuns are...
You never hear of a bad nun.
No, like, hey, the nun, you know
did
why?
something. We keep it quiet.
I wish Kenny was
the
here.
vow of silence.
I wish Kenny was here so he could tell us about the bad nuns he's seen online.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Let's take a break. Let's come back.
Let's talk about We Are Nuts
They're
and
nuts.
We Are Nuts.
Two of them yesterday, Chris.
Did you really go get two of them?
I bought a toffee
You told
peanuts.
us that yesterday.
No, he went after the show.
My God, you spend all your money on nuts.
My
Toffee
strange
peanuts
addiction.
and the almonds.
So here's the thing, Rook, I need help with a couple. I was on their store locator on their website.
Yeah.
I need help with a couple of these places that you might be familiar with. What is Regina's Candies?
Right on, right there.
St. Clair and Cleveland.
I knew you would know that. So they
I
carry.
could have answered that.
Well,
here's our food guy.
But they're a St. Paul family, so it makes sense that they
Perfect.
would patronize Regina's.
Okay, perfect. So they carry We Are Nuts. The Target at St. Paul Midway, also in addition to Lunds and Byerly's, Frattallone's. You know all the normal locations. The Product Exchange. Are you familiar with that one? I was
don't
not.
know that.
Okay, so they also carry We Are Nuts. I know you're not familiar with this place, but I thought you might have heard of it. Liquor Village in St. Paul.
Hey,
right in Highlands.
Right across the Ford Bridge. Joe and I both have. That was
high status.
That was both in our circle.
I felt a fiduciary responsibility to the place.
So when we're driving across the Ford Bridge, Joe and I were go. Is it Yarmo's week or is it Liquor
What
Village?
day of the week is it? Also, Von Hansen's Meats in Highland Park. Oh God, I love setting you guys up. That's the best.
It was Yarmo's week this
and also the Pump House Creamery in Minneapolis, which is a popular stop. All of those places carry We Are Nuts.
All them places got them.
Hey, they got them.
They
But you
got
know
'em.
what? Maybe you're outstate Minnesota and you want to place your order and join the fun. Go to wearenutsmn.com. Handmade right here in the great city of Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's a family-run operation, and we are all now addicted to the fine snacks made by We Are Nuts. And wearenutsmn.com. Place your order today and let them know that you heard about them on the Garage Logic podcast.
By the way,
there it is.
Why is it not? There we go.
You couldn't come in Tuesday. You were unavoidably detained.
No, I was unavoidably detained Tuesday, and then Wednesday I was at Reber's alma mater, Mankato State.
Oh, what were you doing?
Went down there to do a football column.
Nice.
And
we're going to be good this year.
Yeah, they're already up to number 3 in the national rankings after the thumping of Northwest Missouri on Wednesday.
Bear Bowl?
Mankato State,
Oh, Mankato. Are we doing our annual NFL?
Yes. No, not NFL. Vikings preview.
Vikings
show.
preview?
Yeah, this is the annual Joe and Pat Racing preview show. First, let me send out a recommendation. Anyone traveling in a westerly direction, stay off 94. I'd say she's backed up to about Hudson right now.
Oh, no.
What happened?
I have no idea.
Mass exodus, probably closing the cabins.
Yeah, that could be, but it's unbelievable. It's as far as the eye can see towards St. Paul.
Nothing is worse when you go around the bend and all you see is brake lights.
There's nowhere to go, baby. There's nowhere to go.
What if you're heading south and maybe east a little bit out of the old Hubbard Broadcasting station?
Probably going to be screwed too.
Sounds fine. I think it'll be good.
Hey,
good luck with that.
And before we get into the famous Joe and Pat Viking preview show, how about those Twinks? Did you watch any of that game last night?
Yeah, well, one complaint I have is that they waited way too long to resume playing. It wasn't raining.
No.
Let's go here.
Plus, it's a Thursday in the middle of September. Why are you playing a night game?
Yeah.
Why don't you play it at 10 in the morning and get the damn thing over with?
Joe,
So
I was reading that the reason that they were delayed is they found lightning down in Albert Lee, in the NFL game.
Yes, right.
Creeping its way up.
Yes.
What time did that NFL game finally get over?
I don't know. I
didn't watch it.
But okay, we'll get off the Twins because it's ridiculous. But
here we go.
1920 in the Hupmobile showroom
in Akron, Ohio.
In Akron, Ohio, they started the NFL.
That's right.
And until 2015, nobody mentioned lightning. Nobody ever got hit with lightning. Not that we know of. Maybe 2 or 3 guys. What the hell? Now, all of a sudden, if it's in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and you're playing in Philadelphia, you can't play.
Plus, the announcer said, we've got to protect these 70,000 fans. They stayed in their seats.
Right.
Yes, right. Well, they advised them to go back so they could buy more drinks. Yeah. But yes, it's, golf. I agree. You got trees.
Yeah, you're outside.
And you got a big stick with a metal shaft on it.
Yep.
You got all that stuff. And trees. Listen. If lightning strikes the stands and you kill 4 drunks, who gives a damn, right? Now
I suppose there is that way to look at it.
Let's play ball.
But last night would have been the perfect day. Rook, you can attest. Last night would have been the perfect chance to have Champions Club seats. You got there early. Yeah.
Yes.
You had the delay. You were there all night. You got your money's worth.
That would have been.
There were hardly anybody in those seats.
Plus, there were 6 people there. By the way, you champion.
He's a veteran.
Subscribers.
Yes.
I heard this from a good resource because of the demand that we have these days with this Joe Pollad Rand Ball Club, that unless you sign a 3-year contract for those seats when you renew, you're going to have to pay 32% more next season.
You're gotta be kidding me.
But if you sign a 3-year contract, then you only have to pay 20% more.
So I got a buddy that's got 4 of them.
Yes.
So you're saying he's got to pay for 3 years out? Or pay a 32% premium?
Yes. Otherwise, he's still got to pay a 20% premium.
Did someone give him the booklet on how to systematically dismantle a fan base? This guy is such an idiot.
No, he already had it from the radio stations that he owned. There goes
that one.
He already had it when they paid 25 and sold it for 4. He had that.
Do you want to know how to become a millionaire?
Yeah, he started as a billionaire. Hey, we need to find out what is their debt to whom?
To their own bank, I'm sure. But they apparently never paid for anything. Like when the Vikings,
like rookie,
when they got the Target, when they moved into Target Field, they paid a 4th or something, right off the top, right, 110 out of 140. They apparently didn't pay that; they just borrowed it, and then they continued every time they ended a season, and they needed $30 million to send to the MLB for the share or something. They just borrowed it from the bank. There's no way in God's name they lost $450 million running the Twins.
Well, plus, how are you going to bring in limited partners for the sole purpose of having them pay off your debt?
I have no idea. Who are
That's
those
called
people?
arrogance.
I don't know.
That's called arrogance.
Who in the hell would sign up for that?
Maybe they'll toss him a couple of Champions Club seats.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but you got to pay a 30% increase for it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
See, there's other breaking news.
Yes.
You're back on Twitter.
Yes.
So
Welcome back.
I want the decision process because you
Okay.
swore you wouldn't do it.
No, I did swear. And as I said to Reavers, what he was suggesting is when I do something out of principle,
Yeah.
doesn't really mean crap all
Not
the
a
time.
damn thing.
So you're
Then get over it quick.
but your self-ban was done out of principle.
Out of principle. But
You failed.
I got stuck. My cell phone got stuck on the active feed of Blue Sky,
Right.
and I couldn't get it off. So I turned off the phone, and when I came back in, Blue Sky was gone.
Oh.
And I knew my Twitter thing was still in there, and I had some very pundit things to say, so I gave away all my pride and went back
Yes, he
there.
did. And as I declared, thank God he's back. We knew he'd be back.
And give him my response.
Oh, here, I'll go right here. Hold on. This was a couple of days. You had a couple of zingers yesterday, by the way. Go ahead, Rook.
I was just going to say, while you're looking, the phone was like in the closers, where it was talking to him. It was buzzing like this, saying, "Come get me, come get me."
Your line yesterday was, "This Twins team isn't very good, but they sure are dumb."
Little Mickey Gasper.
Yes.
He's fired up.
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden, he's fired up.
Yeah, but...
Here we go. I said on September 3rd, it's so good having you back. We all knew you would be back with the OK sign, courtesy of you guys with Bud. And Patrick says, in other words, our long experience together told you that when I take a stand on principle, it doesn't mean beep.
That's true, and I'll admit that it doesn't. It's we can change.
All right, preview.
The Viking preview. First of all, I was going to ask you, what was your favorite all-time Viking team? 70, the first Super Bowl.
Probably
69.
before I started covering
Well, yeah,
them.
I was going to ask you then, did that change?
Oh, yeah. Once you got to know them, I didn't want anything to do with them.
Once you got to, yeah, right. But you, Joe, people don't realize Joe was a young Viking psycho driving to Faribault or Rochester.
Oh, I was a fan.
The game.
I was a fan.
What was your watering hole at Faribault?
I didn't go to Faribault ever.
Well,
Rochester, Eau Claire.
Faribault you could go to only on Monday nights because you could get the
Shamrocks, because Shamrocks had the games.
I never went to Faribault, Chris.
Yeah, I went to Faribault for a Monday night game.
Okay.
Yeah, and drove back, which was a mistake. But anyway.
What year did they tape you to the goalpost?
I never got taped to the goalpost,
I thought
Chris.
that was a story.
No.
You was zip tied.
No. That never happened.
No, but you were all in 60 when Bud came in and
68,
turned
9,
it around.
70,
Yeah, when Bud came in and turned it around. So, think of the difference in the operation, though. You look at, I think they have 26 assistant coaches.
Oh, my God. That's ruining the game.
Bud had 5, and one of them, Buzz, was just there to make sure nobody paid retail for a refrigerator.
And one of them was there to take all the rolls off the airplane and put them in his pocket. That was Buzz Murdy's.
Well, then the other guy would get the sandwiches for Bud so he could feed the dogs the leftover sandwiches. So I don't think O'Connell's got a guy, hey, pick up the extra food.
I don't think he does either.
You know what, though?
I want to feed the kids when I get home.
Do you know what would be
kids.
You know what would be the ratings boost for Monday Night Sports Talk and Garage Logic? You know what it would be? You costing the Vikings a draft pick. Mm-hmm. That would rocket us into superstardom.
I've already done that.
I know.
That's true.
So you think you're going to win?
I say Chicago wins.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
I kind of like the locals, but...
I do, too.
I mean, here's the thing about when they drafted Christian Ponder at 12, we knew it was desperation because he wasn't rated that highly. You know, he was like a later first round pick, and it was Spielman desperation. This guy, they that's where he was supposed to get drafted, 8, 9, 10, something like that. And he had sat out for a year. I think he's a pretty good athlete. So
you
I'm
like
not
the Vikings?
Too worried. I like the Vikings.
I like the Bears.
Okay.
I prefer a Viking victory, but I have you know me, I'm a savant.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
I sense a Bears victory.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Bears are going to stink as bad as they used to.
No, they shouldn't, because they went and Williams, the kid, the big guy, almost got killed last year. What, 60-some sacks?
Something like that. Yeah, he led the
50 or
league.
60 sacks. So they went out and spent a lot of money. They had a lot of money to spend because they aren't paying him yet. They went out and got a bunch of offensive linemen to block. So
yeah, I think it'll be good. Can I do my This Day in History?
How about you let Patrick tell us about the Valley Group of GM dealers?
I would love to tell you about the Valley Group of GM. I saw a beautiful Buick SUV driving in today. We weren't stuck on traffic going east, but going west, you could have watched one of those for like 2 days if you were behind it. But anyway, Jim Paul, Brett Paul, Valley Group of GM dealers, Apple Valley, straight out Cedar. They got a great, even on the lot, a lot of SUVs, 2024, 2025. If you've seen those Buick SUVs on the TV ads for the football games and everything, they're fantastic. They'll make a great deal for you. And I bought my last 6, 7 cars out there. And the financial people will make sure it works for you. So if you want to get that 16-year-old kid who's just going back to school, who is now driven long enough that you trust them, go out to Jim Paul, Brett Paul, Valley Group of GM dealers in Apple Valley on Cedar Avenue.
Only. See, we're going to use Pat on this.
Okay.
Pat, you have to give me the date.
Okay.
Only because they come to us all the way from the Traveling Lymans in Marloth Park, Mpumalanga Province, South Africa. It was on this day.
September 5th, Patrick. You
Say
say
the
September
date.
5th.
Say the date.
On this day, September 5th.
You don't have to say on this day. If I say on this day,
I listen to it all the time. I just missed that
on
part.
this day,
September 5th.
in 1882, the St. Paul City Council established the St. Paul Public Library.
Wow.
Yep, located.
He's very happy with that.
Located on the 4th floor of the Ingersoll building. It opened January 2 with a collection of 8,000 books. On this day,
September 5th.
There we go. He's in a rhythm now.
1893, composer Antonin Dvorak
Nailed it.
visited Minnehaha Falls and performed the Czechoslovak Benefit Society. Wow. Inspired by his view of the falls, Dvorak later based a composition on his Minnehaha theme, the Santanita, for violin and piano.
Wow, I wish I'd been there.
Yeah.
But
Sorry to miss it.
I bet the water was running over that dam in 1893, man, without having to put the wall in there and all that stuff, wouldn't you say?
Uh-huh.
Here to comment on September 5th is Patrick Reusse.
On this day,
September 5th.
Pat, on this
September
day,
5th.
1917.
Now we're getting closer.
Ain't what it used to be, is it?
Was there a great battle in World War I that we won that
we're going
day?
to bring in your people on this one.
Okay.
This is something you're going to pay rapt attention to. On this day,
September 5th.
1917.
Okay.
In response to anti-draft activity, particularly in New Ulm, the drafted men of Brown County passed a resolution supporting both the U.S. entry into World War I and the draft itself.
Okay.
I think that was in response to the Germans
They had
putting up a little fuss.
They had a lot of Germans in New Ulm.
Yeah.
New Ulm.
No, it's New Ulm.
They were split on who they wanted to win out there.
I know.
You know, they were,
It was after the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor.
Kind of
Split on who they wanted to win.
50-50. And I keep repeating this is just a rumor. There's a lot of little grandkids of, not little grandkids, probably great-grandkids of German soldiers who were in the POW camp that are running around. But that was just a rumor.
Pat, on this day in sports disappointment history,
Okay. September 5th.
1978, Disco Dan Ford walked backwards from second base to third base, waving at the player walking to second base. Then on a single with the bases loaded, he jogged backwards from third. I was there. I remember this. I remember this.
My favorite moment ever.
He jogged backwards from third base to home plate. He didn't touch home plate. Ford stepped into the right side batter's box, having Morales, who was
Jose Morales, ran as fast as me.
Having Morales, the runner behind him, touch home plate, slapping Morales' hand. Morales was called out for passing Ford. Mock told Ford to take a hike. Mock said, "I've never seen anything like that, and Ford will not get paid for this game."
Yes.
Ford's fine was $370. His salary was $60,000 for 162 games.
They only could find him, so they couldn't find him full. They
Right.
were only about 60. Oh yeah.
What was he thinking?
We were great.
He was Disco Dan, baby.
He was Disco Dan.
He wasn't thinking.
He was an adventurous base runner, but Mock came out, and as Ford was walking with his head down back to the dugout, Mock gave him a one-word speech: "Leave."
Yep.
And then I think Joe Brinkman was the umpire, but I might be wrong. But I think Joe Brinkman, and he said, "Did what happened? What I think happened was what happened here? What I think happened?" And he said yes, and he said. Then he cast some aspersion at Danny's intelligence and
went
walked
and had
back.
a smoke in the dugout.
Earl, why the hell are you walking Danny Ford?
But Ford came back that season, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if we suspended him. 77 was when he forgot his sunglasses.
Right.
And he didn't put it was a bright, shiny day of a doubleheader in Comiskey Park. The Twins came there ahead by 3 and left trailing by 1 for the series, but they hit a fly ball out there, and the Twins had a lead of about 8-2 at one time, and Disco Danny looks up and goes like this, and the ball landed. And
like he's a 9-year-old player.
Hey, that was the game where the blind radio guy, not Vogel. Chicago had another blind radio guy. Was a sports guy, and it was between games, and the guy leading him around was. We walked in the clubhouse, and the guy said, "There's nobody in here to interview." And the blind guy said, "Well, let's go in and see Gene." And I stepped in front of them, and the door was open. Like
you don't want to see Gene right now.
The door was open a crack, and you could see the steam coming out of it. And I said, "We don't know." I just didn't think it would look good for Gene's career if he punched a blind guy.
I think you saved 2 guys.
Yes,
you saved Gene, you saved the blind guy
from getting punched by Gene. So it was.
Pat, you know what? Since you're here, I'm going to have you read this week's Garage Logic GLer of the Week.
What an honor, Pat.
This week's GLer of the Week.
GLer.
It was from one of my favorite towns. Best ballpark in Minnesota.
Tell me.
Scott Andre from Glencoe, Minnesota.
Yes.
Glencoe, Minnesota. One of the best ballparks. Not the best. Delano's the best. But
he wins the
Scott
Masters Maples gift pack and everything.
Ooh, what do you get in that big gift pack?
Pat.
It's
best
syrup.
100% pure
Lots of
maple syrup. Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Scott.
I like syrup.
Well,
some rub.
That is the GLer of the week.
Scott Andre, Andre.
There we go.
All right, congratulations. And thank you.
And don't forget to sign up for the Garage Logic YouTube channel. That's right. Garage Logic has a YouTube channel, and you can watch the show each and every single day starting right around noon. You can also see full segments, video shorts. There's behind-the-scenes footage, but it's all there for you. Just search Garage Logic on YouTube, and you can search us on all of our social media channels, which includes Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And also, don't forget to sign up for the Daily Logician. That's an email that comes right to your inbox each and every single day, and it includes the most recent episode of the podcast. Find out more and sign up at garagelogic.com.
Joe, I got to tell you something.
Yes.
I did feel the sincerity when he congratulated the GLer of the week.
I did too.
As he was putting his computer away.
Yeah. Time once again to check in with our guy, Mr. Money Talk. Josh Arnold is with us once again right here in Garage Logic. And now is the time for you to do the same. So do not delay. Do exactly what I did and pick up that phone and dial 952-925-5608. That number once again is 952-925-5608. When you call that number, you're going to get Josh. And he is there for you for that free, yes, I did use the word free, 48-minute financial consultation with absolutely zero obligation. And he will always give you the straight talk. He will never give you the sugar-coated advice. And he is on the line with us once again right here in Garage Logic. And boy, Josh, big jobs numbers are coming out today. And what's the latest on the Fed right now, sir?
Well, that's the question. What's the latest on the Fed? The jobs numbers came out today, and many prognosticators, many statisticians, many analysts, and many strategists were counting on a jobs number that would be weak, and that would give the Fed final impetus to start cutting interest rates at the next meeting in 2 weeks. Well, the jobs numbers did come out much lower than had been expected, only 22,000 new jobs versus 75,000 expected. That is a big difference. Now, I'm sure that some of this is going to be revised upward in the next few weeks, but that is a very, very weak jobs number, and it kind of confirms the ADP report that came out yesterday, which was weak, as well as the job openings number that came on Wednesday, also very weak. Now, either people are not leaving jobs, or definitely employers may not be hiring. And if you've seen newspaper ads or newspaper articles recently about jobs market for recent college graduates, it is extremely tight. Some of that has been attributed, of course, to impact of AI on entry-level positions. My take, at least on AI and entry-level positions, and there are many that are going to disagree with me, but if you've got some background and can deal with artificial intelligence and are able to think through the output or even the input going into artificial intelligence, you're going to be able to find a job. Nonetheless, job growth, we'll say, is very, very stagnant. Initially, the market celebrated this on the belief that Fed would be cutting, and maybe cutting not just 25 basis, but 50 basis points. Now, bear in mind, a year ago, the Fed cut 50 basis points, and that was initially not taken well by the market. It was seen that the Fed a year ago was behind the eight ball in terms of dealing with interest rates, and then the thought was, well, the Fed is aggressively cutting to help their chosen candidate for the election, and their chosen candidate was not the current president. But we'll leave that to the politicians. Anytime the Fed starts cutting, or say goes from no cut and will be data dependent to an aggressive cut, that does show that they are a little bit behind the curve. Now, after the initial pop up on hopes that the Fed was going to cut, the market reversed course pretty heavily and headed downward as other investors said, if the jobs number is this weak and there's stagnant jobs growth, that might signal that we have an economic recession on the horizon. So sell. Stuff that was sold was led in by the financials, including the big banks, J.P. Morgan and Morgan Stanley, and then also some of the consumer financials like Visa and American Express. I am not a bank investor, as I've discussed previously. I do focus on companies involved in the internet, companies involved in leisure, China-related businesses, because that's still a fast-growing part of the world, and real assets such as real estate. The losers, we'll say, were some of the industrial companies as well as the banks. Microsoft was also down. Some of that could be on profit taking, and some on the potential impact and still the fallout from the Google antitrust decision, which definitely has been a nice boost to favorite Apple, and Apple could be a big winner. Speaking of Apple, as the stock approaches $240 a share, still down from a high earlier this year, but Apple is planning a big event next Tuesday to introduce some of their new products, and we'll talk more about that later. On the leisure side, well, one of my favorite companies, TKO, and we've talked about that numerous times. TKO is a parent of the WWE and the UFC, Ultimate Fighting, as well as owning several management companies within it and pro bull riding, and continues to expand its presence, increased its dividend yesterday, plus got a little bit of an upgrade, and that stock has accelerated much higher. Do remember early in February, during the merger between Endeavor and Worldwide Entertainment, the stock initially got to about $176 a share and then sold off on earnings. There was very heavy inside activity, so big insiders were buying between $163 a share and $175. Were not sellers when the stock sold off. So plenty of opportunity with a, we'll say, leisure company that has programming that people do want to watch, whether the economy is good, bad, or indifferent.
Excellent advice, as always, Mr. Money Talk. Well, you heard him, GLers. Now is the time for you to pick up the phone and make the call for that free 48-minute financial consultation with absolutely zero obligation. And you do that just like I did by dialing 952-925-5608, where you always get straight talk and never, ever sugar-coated advice. Josh, once again, thank you so much for the time and the chat and the flexibility this week. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a fantastic weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Okay, yes, we will, and I still say go Twins.
No doubt. Me too. See you next week, Josh.
You too.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Chris Reavers is a paid endorser.